Hi, guys. Fernandes Lembo, the post-Irma episode.
Yeah.
We weren't around last week, obviously, because our production team was busily doing more important things in our show, but we're back. But there's no notes.
Good to be back,
there's
by the
no
way.
papers. Good to be back.
Yeah.
There's no papers in front of us because, frankly, there is really nothing to remember from the past week. Games pick up again next Friday. But what happens tomorrow? Practices start in Sarasota County, don't they?
That's right. Sarasota County teams can practice Friday and Saturday only with helmets.
Right.
I guess shells, they call them.
Shells. It's a shell of a game. Yeah.
Nothing doing. We're hearing about Manatee or Charlotte County. As you know, all three counties no school this week.
Right.
As we in the wake of Irma. So more important things to tend to, make sure everything's okay before the kids go back. But yeah, that's the situation. There will be football on Saturday.
Right.
St. Stephen's goes to St. Pete Shorecrest, 11 o'clock kickoff. And I think Monday, Sarasota plays Northport.
Has that been settled? I talked to our crack colleague, Dennis Maffezoli, yesterday. He was still waiting to hear back whether the Sarasota County schools, some would be allowed to play games on Monday. If you're Sarasota High, it's a logistical nightmare. You play on Monday, then you're going to be in Georgia on Friday for a game. How do you squeeze a game plan in of a couple of days like that?
Well, you know what? I mean, Monday, the Northport game's a district game.
Right.
So even though there's this new format, every game counts, the district games still take priority. So that's the game you got to focus on. And then you go to Georgia, and the hope there is you get out of there healthy, and then you come back, and it's a mess. I mean, you know, Manatee High, as I said in my story today, they played one game.
Right.
Some teams have played one full game, a half of another. It's just been a crazy, crazy situation. Look, it was crazy before Irma, the first couple weeks of the season.
Sure.
It was, I mean, so now you couple the storm onto it, and look, let's be honest, in context, I mean, everything, you know, people are safe, and homes are intact, schools are intact, so... But just in terms of the football season, it's really just, I've never seen it like this.
I hope going forward, and there's not to say that we won't have storms the next couple of Fridays that might interfere games going. I'll tell you, I talked to a couple of football players yesterday. What this does for the seniors who aren't committed, this is taking away action that you can put on film that you can watch collegiate people watch you as a high school senior.
To me, if you're a senior, you should have film.
Well, not all. I mean, not everybody's committed.
No, I don't mean committed, but you should have some film.
You should.
I mean, they're not going to hold it against you that a couple of games in your senior year were canceled. You know, so you should have some film up. I think if you're a senior, I mean, this is your senior year, and you're losing games. You know, that's the thing. You know, every Friday that you don't play, and you're a senior, you're kind of like one kind of check off the games you have left list. But you know, I'm curious going forward. Like you said, I mean, like Dave Marino said in my story, the Palmetto coach. I mean, Mother Nature, who knows? I mean, we're still in hurricane season. Hope nothing comes. But, you know, I mean, it's not just hurricanes, but a bad thunder and lightning can screw up a Friday night. So
as it has done.
As it has. So it's almost like the margin of error in terms of games you can lose. I mean, we're going to see games on Mondays, Tuesdays. You got to get those district games in, and it might not be the crisp football you're usually seeing, but we're going to see something.
Apparently, what I was talking to Dennis yesterday, Sarasota County can practice tomorrow. Manatee and Charlotte counties have to wait until Monday after school to start their first practice. You talk about scheduling. You know, one of the big games coming up, you got Braden River at Venice. You got both teams coming back to practice. I'm sure they want to play this coming Friday, and then they got to wait another off week before they play.
I think Braden River has a bye week next week.
They both have bye weeks.
So, I mean, who knows what kind of shape those guys are going to be in
Talk
terms
about being impatient, too, right? Chomping at the bit to play.
Yeah, and you're going to be a little rusty, obviously. So it's bizarre. It really is. And again, I've never seen it like this before, but Mother Nature. I mean, when you play one game a week, you know, as football is, and look, other sports are affected too. I mean, there's no volleyball this week, there's no golf this week, no swimming. It's not just football, but football plays one day a week. So if your football game is rained out, now it's all a big quagmire. So we'll see how it is moving forward. The FHSAA has said they're not going to add games because they can't push the season back any longer.
Right.
So it might just be when the regular season's over, you've played 7 games, you've played 8 games, you've played 9 games. They probably have to waive the 8-game minimum. That to me is a given.
I know one topic that not only maybe between us, but some of the other journalists in the area, how do these kids staying in shape?
Right.
Which is kind of a story that doesn't really need to be done. Maybe if it's you or I, you're going to, but if you're 17 years old, is a week to 10 days really going to make that much of a difference?
Well, I don't know, but if shape in terms of
maybe football shape.
And holding your breath and stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of, football is so about timing, especially with like receivers and quarterbacks. That I think is more of an issue than anything else. So maybe kids are in a backyard running fly patterns. Who knows? But That, I mean, I don't think it's so much about shape, about staying physically in shape, but football shape and the game plan and going forward. And, I mean, look, athletes are creatures of habit, maybe more so than anyone else. And for, when's the last time these kids had practice? I mean, there was no school Thursday and Friday of last week.
Well, these coaches haven't seen these since Wednesday.
Right.
And then you're going to gather back for a couple of practices. And if you're Sarasota, you have a game Monday after having a couple of practices. Yeah. That doesn't seem like it's well thought out there. I mean,
but unfortunately, you got to do what you got to do, and you got to get these sister games in. I mean, they got to be played
until somebody gets injured because they haven't had enough time to sort of prepare for these games, and then you'll hear parents, as parents do nowadays, shouting.
You know what?
Out.
If you're a parent, you're that concerned, just don't let your kid play.
Right.
Seriously, I'm not saying that as a smarmy comment. I mean, if you're that concerned about that, don't let your kid play.
Even though you're tremendously smarmy anyway, so
yeah,
yeah,
I am.
Yeah, exactly.
That was smarmy just now.
So besides football, we talked about football, other sports being affected, but you've had a couple of nice stories recently. Non-football, just talk about maybe what else is going on in the area besides football.
Ashley Waldo, Braden and Christian, volleyball libero. She 5 months in a wheelchair last year. She had a nerve disorder, and she's back in the court playing now. That story was in, I think, Wednesday's Herald-Tribune, but it's online if you want to read about it. She's a great kid. Has worked herself back into the lineup. I mean, she's a libero, so she's all over the court. So she, her and her coach kind of have this unspoken thing if she needs a timeout. She's also in the running to be valedictorian at BCS, so check that story out on our website. She tells a great story of all she's persevered through to kind of get back in the volleyball court.
A couple of days ago, I had a story about Dumaka and Baraka Atkins trying to turn the program over around at Booker. I mean, if you're looking for guys who did something on athletic, you can't pick two better guys than the Atkins boys at Booker.
Yep, a lot of credibility.
Yeah, and I have a story coming out tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Vince Sellers, Jr., former cornerback and safety for Riverview, is starting on Saturday night as a true freshman for Tennessee State against FAMU in the annual FAMU Bowl up there.
Good news.
So it's nice for kids to leave this area and actually do something in the collegiate.
Yeah, like I said, we talk a lot about the kids who leave this area and do not nice things.
Right.
But we should talk about the kids who leave and do good things as well. Vince was a big part of that district championship team last year of Riverview. Great athlete, both sides of the ball. He was a receiver too last year for the Rams. So good to see him at college doing good things.
And I've been here way too long because I think I covered Vince Sellers Sr. when he played for John Sprague at Riverview. When you start covering the fathers of the kids that you're covering now, then you know you've been here a little too long. Anything else going on? Anything else we should hit on?
The FHSA did say Sunday practices for all sports, all four sports, are permitted if the districts allow it.
Right.
So that's everything from swimming, volleyball, cross country. Now again, each district has to say it's okay.
Right.
But they're allowing a Sunday practice, which they never do. But this is an emergency, so we'll see if those. And hopefully next week we'll be back and talking about games we covered, games we're going to cover, and let's talk football, not storms.
My God, this has really thrown a monkey wrench. Not only the players, but the coverage of the games. We come back, deadlines. It really messes up pretty much everybody on our
but given what we were forecast, I think we all got really lucky.
Right.
I think we all. Hopefully you're watching this and you're also lucky.
Right. So next week we'll be back. No interruptions, no storm interruptions,
we hope,
no production. So look for us next week. So for Lembo, I'm Fernandes. We'll see you next week on The Grid.